There we go. I do believe we're live, so I'll say indeed and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a dear pleasure it is to have you here again on another day for us to think about the things we say. That is what today's stream topic is about for me. I had this moment of realization, we can call it. I thought about some of the studies that have been done on the epigenetic expression of our bodies when we practice yoga. And what that means, essentially, is that your body has these methyl groups, right? You have DNA, and then on the outside of that DNA, you have these methyl groups. And when methylization occurs, it can switch off or switch on different gene pairs. And when that happens, there's a cascade of effects. They did studies on the longevity kind of genes and how much they're methylated. And when we practice yoga, we demethylate those groups, effectively telling our bodies to push ourselves towards longevity instead of pushing ourselves towards aging. And that's pretty interesting to me. I thought about this practice of yoga as a kind of language we speak with our bodies, right? To the universe, to our DNA. And it made me think about the things we say, right? If the things we can say with our bodies, if the way we move can literally change our DNA, what can our words change in this reality that we are a part of? Today, we are talking about the things we say in so many words. I really want to talk about the parts of us, the epigenetic parts of us that are affected by something like yoga. Tell us about the studies that have been done on the DNA and yoga and the benefits that yoga have for longevity. The reason I'm bringing this up as a conversation is because one, I would like my community to practice more yoga, but also for us to come into this point of awareness that the things we say, be it with our bodies and our movements, or with our words and our actions, change things. With yoga, it literally changes ourselves, but with words and actions, it literally changes the world. I would like to have a conversation about that and about how those things relate. And this is Melita the stick. Some of you friends might know the stick has not disappeared. I've just been not bringing it into stream. That's a rich and powerful conversation. Yeah, of course. Let's start. Yoga and epigenetics. What the science says. Recent studies in the field of epigenetics have found that mind-body practices like yoga can influence your gene expression, especially those linked to inflammation, aging, and stress response. Here are some key findings. Downregulation of pro-inflammatory genes. A 2017 meta-analysis in Frontiers in Immunology looked at multiple studies on yoga, meditation, tai chi, and similar practices. It found that these practices downregulate the expression of genes associated with inflammation, particularly NF-KB, a key player in the body's stress response and chronic inflammation pathways. Chronic inflammation is tied to many diseases and aging processes. Ahmed, books, it's nice having you. Uju, Wende, it's nice having you here too. Today we're talking about the things we say, right? And we are starting this conversation off by talking about yoga as a type of language we speak to our genes, right? We speak to our bodies and how our bodies reply, right? We know now that, at least for one, when we speak the language of yoga, when we have this mind body connection, we speak this language of down regulating our stress responses, down regulating the amount of inflammation our body produces. And if you think about inflammation, if you already don't know what inflammation is, it is when you have a cut and there's a bunch of red around that cut, right? Like that is an inflammatory response. And you don't really want that, right? When you're in that red space, your body like releases a bunch of sometimes dangerous, right, destructive chemicals into your bloodstream and into that area, sometimes in defense, right? But unfortunately, it still harms us, and it has cascading effects down the line. Telomere maintenance, that's another one. Telomeres are the little caps essentially at the ends of your DNA. So every single time a cell replicates, the telomeres shrink. The shorter the telomeres are, the worse off, the more mistakes essentially the cells can make in replicating. Best anti-inflammatory food, if I had to give advice, blueberries. Blueberries, maybe some beef tallow. Uh, yeah, blueberries and beef tallow sounds like a kind of like a yikes combination, though. So maybe eat them on their aces. It's nice having you here, Kirazan. Kiranzar, uh, Master. Your message came and disappeared instantaneously. Sending you blessings too. Telomere maintenance. Telomeres are the protective caps at the ends of chromosomes. Their length is a marker for biological aging. Studies like those by Dr. Dean Ormish and Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, both Nobel Prize winners on telomere research, showed that lifestyle interventions, including yoga and meditation, can increase telomere activity, which helps maintain telomere length, suggesting slower aging at a cellular level. Get banished to the shadow realms. Skapa disappears. Genes. Expression changes in gene expression without changing our DNA. Yoga doesn't alter your DNA code. It changes how your genes are expressed. That means that certain traits can be activated or quieted based on your internal and external environments. Yoga creates the kind of environment that tells your cells you're safe, you're calm, you're thriving. And that cascades into a better immune function, resilience, and even improved cognition. So when we talk about yoga, changing ourselves, it's not just a poetic metaphor, it is a literal, biological truth. Yeah. And now we're going to bridge that understanding onto the next, all right? The connection to language, movement, and reality. Hi, Vidyut. It's nice having you, friends, sending you blessings. The things we say, the movements we make, the actions we take, they speak to the world in a language deeper than words. Just like yoga signals safety and balance to the body, our words and behaviors send signals into social and the ecological fractals we live in. When we speak with kindness or presence, we alter someone else's neurochemistry. Oxytocin, dopamine, cortisol, these are all affected by tone, gesture, and even rhythm of speech. No dancing today. We dance on Wednesdays. So no dancing today. No, we're being calm. We're saying things today, and it's nice having you here, friend. When we act with awareness, we can de-escalate trauma loops. We can bring coherence to chaos, and we can even interrupt centuries of patterned behavior. That's the power of epigenetics too. It doesn't just pass down trauma, it can pass down healing, right? And easy, Vidyut. So if I had to give you tips, the tips would be the easy part, all right? Boom. If you just did that with me, you've meditated. And the hard part of meditation is staying present in that space. So if you want to start meditating, you essentially take some time, set a 15-minute timer on your device or whatever, and then you sit down and you become very aware of your breath. You'll just breathe. And that should be, or at least try for it to be, the central focus. And then you'll notice that as you're focusing on breath, there will be all of these other things that start coming to mind, like, oh, that thing that someone said, or I want to go and do this thing later, maybe I want to eat this or whatever. And then as soon as you realize, wait a second, I'm thinking stuff and I'm not focusing on breath, you bring yourself back to breathing again. And then you do that for as long as you can until you'll notice your mind drifting back into thought, back into the world, back into this experience, into the narrative of self. And then every time you bring yourself back to breath, it's like you're doing a rep, right? It's like you're exercising. And the part of yourself that you're exercising is the part of yourself that is mindful, right? And that's what meditation is to me. You might get different advice from someone else, but that's the best advice that I can give you in this moment for a beginner. For ladies, meditation is that time we stand in the shower, hold our boobs, and space off, staring at the tile work. It can be, right? Especially if you're just in that moment mindfully, just drifting, taking a moment of ease, right? Meditation to me is in what comes next, in what's going to happen tomorrow, and I want to eat something later. This business idea that I have, right? And all of that stuff is good. And I believe that you can use meditation as a space to create new ideas within as well. But it is about that mindfulness of the inner experience you're having. How is it I'm feeling right now? Is there any discomfort in my body? How does it feel to breathe? If I meditate, am I getting unwanted thoughts? How can I overcome it? You don't have to overcome it, friend. There's no need to overcome, right? There's a saying that what you resist persists, right? If you're having an unwanted thought and then you're thinking about how I don't want this unwanted thought, then you're thinking about the thoughts that you don't want, right? And you'll just find yourself in a loop where the best thing you could do is just think about breathing. Be like, take active action. We have, right? Breath is something automatic. It happens whether we think about it or not. But it has this unique property where we can think about it and we can take action. We can choose to breathe intentionally. Ask yourself why the thought is unwanted. Confront whatever is inside of your body that's fixating on the thought and let it go. It's good to have all of these different types of advice. Thanks, pal, for the info. You're very welcome, friend. Hi, all. What's the topic? Today we're talking about the things we say, Sandra. The things we say, right? It started off, I had this moment during yoga today where it became remembered, right? I already know this. When I did my teacher training, I did a whole module on the epigenetic expression that yoga enables. Where did you get your name? Molded with clay. Little crystal was made by Mama Gaia, our earth. It's a piece of quartz. It's a piece of coral quartz. Yeah, I think that's what they call it. Yeah. So during the yoga came this of like, oh yeah, I'm like saying something to my body and saying these things and saying to my body, I am calm, I am strong, I am capable. My body responds by releasing dopamine, endorphins, by downregulating my cortisol, by reducing the amount of inflammation in my body. And then I wanted to continue that kind of narrative into our real world as well, right? That if something as simple as the way that I move change DNA, how can the way I move in the world and the things I say change reality? More epigenetic talk was amazing. Mo's epigenetic talk was amazing, right? How cool. Like Sam actually did the teacher training as well. So she also got the epigenetic conversation. And like, this is not something that I'm like hippy whippy, I'm a yoga teacher, so I think this is what's happening. This is scientific evidence, right? We can, through science, we can do swabs, right? And then we can sequence DNA. And we can, through understanding, figure out which different gene expressions have different responses, right? Like we can find someone who is chronically stressed and we can see, oh, these genes are more activated in this individual. And then we can find, as this person shows up for mindfulness, for meditation, for yoga, those genes become down-regulated, right? It is empirical. We can prove it. We have the data to prove these things. And it is, beautiful. Like there is this line, the power of epigenetics. That's the power of epigenetics too. It doesn't just pass down trauma, it passes down healing, right? So as I become more mindful of my own inner process and I tune myself genetically into a state of calm and into a state of peace, that passes down if I choose to father offspring. All right, my kids will be the beneficiaries of that information as well. In that epigenetic class that we did, there's also proof that parents, moms that went through trauma, right, while they were pregnant, or even before they were pregnant, right, like babies born in the Depression era. Those babies, because their mothers literally lived in a world where there was food scarcity, right? Some of them went hungry. So as these babies were growing, that genetic information got coded into their DNA. And then when they came into this world, they were more likely to, one, overeat, and two, their bodies were less willing to release the energy that they had, right? Causing them to be statistically more overweight, right? Like we have so many things that affect our bodies that we cannot understand necessarily, but we are slowly but surely getting better at it. And we have the tools. We've had the tools. Yoga has been around for thousands of years for a reason, right? And it's good to know these things. Mm, things we say. Thanks. Bless you. Good. Sam, good morning. Seth is sleeping? It is still early, I'm guessing, in the Americas, probably. Sending little Seth blessings. Thank you for the hearts. Sending you hearts right back. Let's see how this continues. So, practicing yoga is not just a personal practice, it's a form of generational repair. It's a message to the future, encoded in posture and breath. Your role as a mirror for the community, your invitation for the community to do more yoga isn't just about fitness or flexibility, it's a call for epigenetic empowerment. It's a way to say, we can change. We are changing. And every breath, every movement, every kind word is a part of that. Yoga, words, and action are all technologies of transformation. Hey, Adam, it's nice having you. Love from India, love from South Africa to you too. Namo Buddhaya. I don't know what that means, but bless you. No, baby T Rex is screaming because of his teeth, I think. And getting teeth. That's pretty rough. Does he have any of those little soft chew toys? That's the only thing I can imagine helping. I don't know, shame. It's probably gonna be uncomfortable. Being a person is hard, yo. Being a baby must be even more difficult. You're like, what the hell? Ah, this sucks. You just scream. It's Buddha greetings. Thank you. Namu Buddhaya. I appreciate that. Namu Buddhaya to you too, friend. Om Shanti Shanti. A grounded yoga practice makes your speech more honest and kind. Honest and kind speech brings more integrity to your actions. Integrity in action ripples outward and creates space for others to do the same. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, doesn't that give you some hope? I'm wondering if there's questions that I need to be asked, if there is a direction that I can steer us in, right? To kind of continue this conversation down a line that's, oh, I tried to like flick that bug, but he got mushed instead. Poor little guy, blessings and love to you. Thank you, Adam. Blessings and love to you too. I would like to continue down this rabbit hole. Maybe you can give us some more short scientific breakdowns. And I would also like for us to be asked some questions, especially as it relates to why this practice of yoga has been around for thousands of years and why it is we find ourselves still resistant as modern people to actually practicing. I wonder if there's a way to communicate the value thereof in a way where it will be understood. Give us some advice, maybe, you know, that I can share. Mm-hmm. Let's go deeper. Short scientific breakdowns, yoga and the nervous system. Yoga stimulates the vagus nerve. You probably heard about that, which governs your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. When the vagus nerve is toned through breath work, chanting, long exhalations, and gentle movement, you shift out of fight or flight and into a healing state. Yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. People just need to understand. It's true. Yoga means to unite with the self, right? That's the fundamental meaning of yoga. It's not something you necessarily do for others. It's kind of like coming back to like, oh yes, this, I am kind of vibes, right? For me, it's very much a practice of awareness, beautifully so. The results of stimulating our our vagus nerve, is lower anxiety, better digestion, deeper sleep, and improved emotional regulation. Yoga and neuroplasticity. We do like that. Yoga is a light which once lit will never dim. I see it in you, bro. Thank you, Adam. Like I have been practicing for a while, and yoga got introduced to me by a friend as well, right? And interestingly enough, the yoga I was introduced to was hard, right? Very, very difficult yoga. Like he is significantly stronger than me, I still believe. I think he has more endurance, maybe. Maybe that's the right way to see it. And I used to work out in gym, right? Pumping iron kind of vibes. And I believed that that was the appropriate way to exercise, right? I believed that was hard. So because it was hard, I'm good for practicing. And I thought yoga was easy, right? And because I thought it was easy, I didn't give it any attention. I didn't give it any honor, right? And then I practiced yoga with him and I got wrecked. I was shaking in ways I didn't know I could shake. I was asking my body to move in ways it's never moved before. And it was a pivotal moment for me. Since then, I've become a yoga teacher, to teach this practice to other people as well. Your brain physically rewrites itself through repetitive, intentional action. Yoga boosts GABA, a gamma aminobutyric acid. It's called GABA. When you drink alcohol, your brain releases GABA as well. It's a neurotransmitter that reduces neural excitability. Basically, it calms down your mind. Hey, remember me? Yes, Chriselle, I do. You have asked 2 days in a row now if I remember you, and I said I remembered you yesterday too. Nice to have friends that I remember back in the space again. I hope you've been doing well. The result is less overthinking, better focus, and long-term changes in how you respond to life's challenges. That's the nice thing about yoga as well, is that you do show up for a challenge, right? I think my practice isn't that challenging, relatively speaking, right? But it's still a challenge to show up for the practice every single day. And when I show myself that I can practice, right, I show myself that I can kind of like deal with the challenges of the outside world as well. I bend so I don't break is yoga's best result. Exactly. Right. It is a matter of maintenance, right? Realizing that everything in this world is kind of like a maintenance thing. If you don't maintain things, they do break. You know, your body included. Your body is, in that way, a very advanced machine. And we don't have the same kind of access to fixer uppers, let's say. I think it's going to get better. We'll have AI tailored drugs very soon. We'll have robotics. We already did. We recently in Dubai had a heart transplant, completely done by robot arms. Before that, we had a double lung transplant done by robot arms. So before too long, we'll have access to very advanced medicine as well, but medicine is like the last case scenario, being healthy in the self uh, for as long as you can potentially go, and only at the last possible moment, right, when it's like the last result, last not last result, last some reason I don't even have the words, uh, the last option, right? Then we go for the whole medicine fractal. We go and find some help. Did I miss any of your lives after the first one? I think you've been here both days since that time. Hey, Dieter. Bro, have you prayed the Islamic way, true connection with the Creator? I can't say that I have. For me, prayer these days, and we are in a way talking about that. Prayer for me these days is almost like yoga as a practice, right? I pray by doing the things that are good for me. I pray by being grateful for this beautiful world that we're in. I pray by being thankful to my water. I pray by taking care of those around me, right? Loving my close ones. And that to me, I think, is the best kind of prayer as a connection of the Creator. The rhythm of the body, the melody of the mind, and the harmony of the soul create the symphony of looking for. Yeah, medicine. Right? And I am one of those people that are very the kind of medical advances we'll find. We're going to see some interesting stuff in the next 10 years. We're already seeing a bunch of interesting stuff. They're growing teeth, like they're letting people grow their teeth back. Hey, the higher observer. Hey, little cobras. It's nice having you here, bro. They're letting people grow their teeth back. They're curing people with sickle cell disease. We're doing heart and double lung transplants with robot arms. All right. Our machines are going to become very sophisticated real quick. All right. And I think many people don't really realize how much has happened in that space as well. And it is this matter of me where I have this kind of state of worry that because our technology is improving as fast as it is, people will be less likely to take care of themselves because they won't necessarily have to. Yoga is not a workout, it's a work in. I like that. That's awesome. And this is the point of spiritual practice, to make us teachable, to open up our hearts and focus our awareness so that we can know what we already know and who we already are. Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. We have like a few more points here to consider as well. Yoga and the way it affects our hormones. Regular yoga reduces hormone. It balances improve your insulin sensitivity. This makes it a powerful tool for managing hormonal disorders, burnout, and chronic fatigue. It's true. Results: more energy, better metabolism, and fewer stress driven crashes. Yoga and introception. As Adam said, yoga isn't a workout, yoga is a work in, right? Getting that introception. I doubt we have the resources to keep up with the advancements. Our energy resources are lagging. Right now it is, right? Right now it is. Of AI compute, right? That's the entire American electricity grid, just in AI, right? That's a fuck ton of power. It's a lot of electricity. And again, right, we are pumping solar panels out and we're pumping batteries out right now at a record pace. We're making more of that stuff than ever before. And it is going to push us towards this new paradigm, right? Because for the longest time, we were kind of resisting going renewable because we didn't have to, right, to say it in so many words. Now, with AI coming online the way it is and robotics being as prevalent as it is, we are kind of incentivized again, financially so, to find the cheapest possible energy, uh, find a way to store it with batteries, the cheapest stuff to utilize energy and turn it into tokens because those tokens can create economic value, right? So again, right, many people feel many things about AI, right? It's bad for the climate and drinking our water, etc., etc. These technologies, right, always um, the industrial revolution was very bad for our climate, very bad, right? But if not for the industrial revolution, we wouldn't be here right now, right? If not for World War II, we wouldn't have figured out how to make freaking nitrogen fixing, fertilizers. All right, we figured out how to capture nitrogen and ammonia and stuff to build bombs, literally, to bomb each other to bits. And then we were like, oh, wait a second, I can use this stuff to plant plants as well. And as a result of that, our food supply exploded, and we were actually capable of feeding all of the billions of people that are on the earth right now. I was looking for someone to inspire me, motivate me, support me, make me happy. And I realized all along I was looking for myself. That's beautiful, Adam. It's true, right? The only person that's always going to be there to inspire you and motivate you and support you and keep you focused, someone who will always love you and cherish you and make you happy is the self, right? And I feel like there definitely is a kind of push towards that understanding in our society these days, towards the individualism. But I feel like it's misplaced, right? Unfortunately, the reality we're in right now pushes us from the rest of reality, where the individualism that yoga kind of teaches is a introspection, right? A willingness to understand the self so that you can serve other people better. Guess you're not a fan of Iram Ma then. Like, I am not a fan. I used to be. I used to be, actually, unironically, used to be a big fan of Iram Ma. Right. But unfortunately, I think, like with people in the past, right, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I don't know if he's completely corrupted necessarily, but I think he's surrounded by sycophants, right? Which means people that are just there to agree with him and be like, yes, sir. Of course, sir, right? When you have that much money, people treat you differently. And being treated that differently for as long as he's been treated, I think has changed his brain chemistry as well, right? Has messed him a little bit. And it makes him unrelatable, unfortunately, and a little bit detached with reality of the average person's experience. Uh, so yeah, again, right, I cannot deny the fact that he has done through his actions good for humanity, but the same can be said for the other side as well. If we have to like have checks and balances, uh, I feel like it's hard to say. There's a bug on my camera, or was at least. Love is true, ultimately, right? I still believe he deserves love. I still believe that we all do. But I think that through his actions, he has made it more difficult for people to love him as much as they might have been able to otherwise, right? So it is like a matter of choice, right? Yoga and introception. Yoga enhances introceptive awareness, your ability to feel what's happening inside your body. People with higher introceptive awareness have more emotional intelligence, great compassion, and better decision making skills. The result is a clearer inner compass. You become your own safe space. Echoing your sentiment, Adam. Yeah, becoming your own safe space. And you might feel a certain way about the word safe space, right? But we all have to recognize and realize that if you have a room or a home, that is a safe space for you, all right? Your sanctuary. And ultimately, you can become very attached to the space that you're in. You can feel certain ways if the space is one way or another, right? Maybe it's not as pretty as you want it to be. Maybe there's cars driving outside. Maybe there's people making noise, right? And in that way, we can become very irritable. Stop that. I don't want you licking yourself on me. We can become very irritable. You see, like me, very irritable because this dude is very close to my person. But if I was extra Zen mode 5000, I would be so safe in this inner space that any of his actions wouldn't affect me at all. I'm still getting better at it. Yoga teaches us that we can have whatever we may want in life if we are willing to provide it to others first. Yeah. It has been a journey in learning, right? Providing comfort to them creatures of the planet Earth, to our friends and our family, to our little pets, making them feel the love that is true. Adam, you're selling product to people who are already in the company. No, I don't think so. I think he's echoing the sentiment that we are talking about, you know, communicating his understanding of this fractal as well. Maybe we can ask questions instead. Yes. Question to ask ourselves and each other. If yoga is an ancient science of aligning the self, why do we still treat it like a luxury or a trend? That is a good question. Why is it that we do that? Why do we still treat it like a luxury or a trend? Right? The fact that it's called a luxury, I think, is very apt because I think, especially these days, it is amongst us that have a little bit more freedom in life that are more likely to pursue something like yoga, right? Because it takes some time. My practice is 15 minutes. Am I overstepping? I don't think so. I just think maybe it's like talking lines, right? That's the way that I feel Sam interpreting, is that Sam wants the authentic you, right? Sam wants to hear what you think, not what yoga thinks. Because we know what yoga thinks. We want to hear about your state of being kind of vibes. That's the way I'm interpreting, at least. We would rest. Hey, Dream Tooth. It's nice having you here. Sending you blessings. Yeah. What stories have we inherited that tell us slowing down is laziness? We live in a capitalist society, unfortunately. And in this society, you are sometimes, you sacrifice those hours to a corporation, and then you get some sort of financial reward, right? And in that way, taking time for yourself to just breathe, right, doesn't earn you any money. So by that definition, isn't valuable. And that is a damn shame. Hello and love to you all from a meeting that should have been an email. I love you, Joe. Thank you for your patience and your calm, for your willingness to show up for those meetings, even if they're brain numbing, let's call them. Sending you so much love. It's nice having you here, my Xiao. How would your life be different if you spoke to your body with the same patience you offer others? You know, I feel like this is a little bit pompous, but I have been very patient with my body. I sustained an insect bite recently that my body did not cope well with. Had like an extreme and it caused me itching and discomfort, and I was very not happy about my body's response, and I was kind of like, oh. But instead of like being impatient with myself, I would just remedy it. I would apply ice packs and I would uh, put tallow on my wounds, right? And at this point, I am mostly healed. So offering my body that patience means that I'll eventually get to the place that I'm going. Meetings used to irritate me, and that was one of the reasons. Did you stop working at that place you were working at? I remember you saying you did. Right? Stop working there. His little creature. Little lap sitter. Let's continue. What part of you is resisting the practice? And what is it trying to protect you from? Usually embarrassment, I think, right? When we find ourselves resisting the things that are difficult, it's usually like some sort of embarrassment that we're trying to protect ourselves from. It's like, oh, I don't want to feel inadequate or silly for doing this or incapable or stuck. Yes, I'm free. Yay, Nancy. I'm happy to hear this. Sending you blessings in this freedom. If you knew your daily actions would affect your children's DNA, would you breathe a little deeper today? Why we resist yoga, even though we know it's good for us. Resistance is rarely about laziness, it's about fear. Yoga brings us into the present moment, and for many of us, the present holds unresolved grief, burdened tensions, or untold truths. The move to move the body slowly, to breathe deeply, to feel sensations as they are, that's a radical act of intimacy with yourself. But modern life trains us to be distracted, numb, and to perform. So it's not that people don't want to practice, it's that they're scared of what might surface when they do. This is why yoga is medicine. And like all true medicines, it brings things up before it brings them out. Great question. In a way, our actions already do, right? It's true. I do believe this. That is today's message, right? Every single one of our actions affects our future generations in that way. Advice to share with the community. You don't have to apologize, Adam. You don't have to apologize. I think this space, calls to your authenticity more than anything, right? That's kind of what we want from each other. And I can be victim to inauthenticity sometimes as well, especially as it relates to me using these mirrors of information to create a certain narrative, right? But then you'll see me take a break from the narrative and I'll try and share from my own personal experience the wisdom that aligns with my own mind, right? And I feel like having that balance is something we can all learn from. Not saying you can learn from me, but more we as people can learn from that balance inside ourselves. Hey, Jopi, it's nice having you. Sending you blessings, friend. Here's some questions or advice for the community. Start small, but start often. 5 minutes of breathing with your spine tall changes your chemistry. That's yoga. The myth is that you need 90 minutes and incense. It's true, right? I think that is a part that kind of like gets people resistant, is that they see some of these like hour and a half practices of intense, grueling exercise, right? That leaves people covered in sweat and maybe they think they're going to contort themselves into a pretzel, right? Like there's all of these narratives about what yoga is. And because of this internal narrative, they don't want to allow themselves that experience. Cutest dog. He is cute. He's uncomfortable. Hey, you see that? He wants more scritchums. He's like, come on, give me your scritchums. Don't you? Can you see I'm here, capable of getting scritchumed? You silly creature, you. Let me go and reflect. Maybe we'll cross paths again. Adam, you are loved, dear friend. You, you as Adam, right? Yes, we are talking about yoga today, but we care more about you than we care about yoga. Yoga is important, but you are something, someone to be cared about. Know that you are loved, dear friend. I hope you and Joe get a dog. We already have a dog. There's like Noodler. Joe already has a dog, little noodle dooder. A state of rest seems to help boost the next cycle. I do take states of rest as well. Rest doesn't rest doesn't earn me money. It's true. I do take moments to like rest as well. I'm not disagreeing with that sentiment at all, Hoopy. I hope you know that. It's more a matter of balance, right? As that thing says, it's like start small, like 5 minutes. You can create balance. You can balance all of the doing in your life with 5 minutes of breath work, right? Which is counterintuitive, right? Because sometimes, and especially in this world, we have this idea that balance, is somewhere in the middle, right? Somewhere, somewhere, somewhere in the middle there is balance, right? When with yoga and stuff like that, you can be all the way out here and the stick and stay upright. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, you can create balance with small doings as well. Consistency. You're amazing, bro. Love and blessings. Take care. Thank you, friend. I hope you have a good day. We'll be in this space again to receive you tomorrow. This dirt in his mouth. Consistency beats intensity. Daily whisper. A daily whisper is more powerful than a monthly shout. Show up gently, but regularly. Yeah, that's kind of my practice. To the friends who don't know where to start, I give a yoga practice every single day, and I do post the link for it for free on my Discord. It is technically a paid class, but because it's more important for me that people practice yoga than pay me, I do offer it for free as well. So if you don't know where to start, it's 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes max per day, right? That's like a percentage of your entire day, literally 1%. And then you can like have the other 99% doing other stuff, being busy, running around, right? And just that 1% of showing up for yoga makes such a big difference. Make it about listening, not about performance. Diana, good on you. Thank you, friend. Thank you. Make it about listening, not performance. Yoga is not about achieving a pose, it's about inhabiting your truth, even if that truth is tired, aching, or restless. Yeah, that's something that I say in my class as well. As we go through these poses, some of them you might not be able to do the way that I'm doing them, right? And if that is the objective, you should do the practice the way I'm doing it, then it's not yoga, right? Then you're not uniting with yourself, then you're uniting with me, which is not the point. However, you do the practice, however far you can stretch, however much twist you can find in yourself, that is your practice. That is for you, to experience. And as it says, right, even if that truth is tired, aching, or restless, my practice is a hatha yoga practice. So I pair breath work with movement, right? And both of them are equally important. The breath and the movement are sometimes, like for instance, when people think yoga, they think about someone doing all of these poses, right? Where the hatha yoga practice is equally the breath, right? Actually breathing. Like when you're expanding into the movement, and then when you're collapsing into the movement, you're almost like using your body as a pump. And again, it chooses even more into that introception. You are so wise for a young fella. Thank you, Diane. I've been learning. I still have a lot to learn. I am an active student to the universe after all. Melt, have you thought about what time you'll be streaming after you move? Same time? Same time, Nancy. Same exact time. I think so. I might stream a little bit later in the day as well. I might stream longer if it works out that way, right? Maybe I'll do more streaming. Maybe we'll be able to grow the channel faster if I do. In part, the reason I started streaming at 4 p.m. my time is because the stream did start alongside the intention to stop smoking all day, right? Because when I started doing the live streams, I was in a bad space with my relationship with marijuana because I would wake up and then I would uh, walk over to my computer and then I would smoke weed and play Dota. Really, that was my life. That was my existence. That was what I was living for, in so many words. And then I did that for like a month and a half, and I was like, huh, if I smoke weed all day and play Dota, then what? Right? Where is my life going to end up if this is what I'm showing up for? And it dawned on me that I need to show up for something else. And then I started doing the live streams, a little bit every now and then. And I found so much value in this space with you friends. And then we started the daily streams, right? And I remember in that daily stream, I said that I want to only start smoking after 4 p.m. in my day. And then I would roll the joint with you friends and show up for the space. So I'm still going to show up 4 p.m. South Africa time. So since I'm going to be living in Indiana, it'll probably be like 9 a.m., 9 or 8 a.m. But yeah, we'll be around the same time. So you wouldn't have to change anything. So proud of you. Thank you, Diana. Me too. Like it has been a journey in becoming, right? All of us are ultimately in that journey of becoming. It really is a process. It takes a lot of time. But when you keep showing up day by day and you'll find yourself a whole different person by the end of your life. Wow, who would have guessed? Practice as a love letter to the future you. What a beautiful transition after what I just said. Yeah. You don't do yoga for the you today. You do it for the one 10 years from now. That's the one who will thank you for becoming trustworthy in your care. What a beautiful point that is, right? And I do that with that intention as well. I understand that I'm going to be aging, right? I do believe that we'll have access to technologies, gene editing, robotics, cybernetic enhancements, uh, infusions, and nootropics, etc., etc. And that stuff can extend the longevity that I might experience as a person. But that is me with my wishful thinking, right? And my ever hopeful mind. If I believed all of that stuff and I abandoned all of the stuff that I know can actually improve my life 10 years from now, like yoga, right? Like staying healthy, like eating whole foods at this point in my life, and that stuff doesn't come. Or worse yet, maybe that stuff eventually arrives, but it's paywalled, right? I have to be uber wealthy to be able to access any of the technology. Now I ended up ruining my own health in the meanwhile in the hopes of technology like that. And even when that technology matures, I won't be able to afford it, right? Fortunately, yoga is essentially free, right? Maybe you'll buy yourself a yoga mat. That might be some expense, but you put it on the ground anywhere and you can take care of yourself. Hey, Emma V, it's nice having you here. Sending you a hi as well. We have one more. Invite, don't preach. I hope I've not been preaching, right? I hope I've been in this space inviting you to consider this fractal. Share how yoga helps you meet life with more grace, not why others are wrong for not doing it. Let your presence be the proof. Yep, can't count on anything. Prevention is better than a cure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. I actually used to have really bad lower back issues as well, Diana. Before I started practicing yoga, I was injured as a teenager, and that injury like was with me, right? Almost like in the same way as having something in the back of your mind that's like bothering you, I had my lower back in the back of my being bothering me, right? And I would go through these fractals. I was very depressed at one point as well and very stressed about the state of the world. and all of that pain and stress, for some reason, would almost like get physically stored in the back of my body, in that lower back space. All right. So when I remember this moment specifically, when I knew I was going to go to China, I had to tell my friends, right, that I'm about to leave. And that was a very painful thing to admit almost. And we had a festival, and it was during that festival, I knew it was going to be the last festival that I get to go to with those friends, at least in that time period. And the amount of like lower back stress and discomfort, I couldn't find comfort anywhere, right? I couldn't find comfort laying down. I couldn't find comfort in dancing. I couldn't find comfort in sitting. And at that point in my life, I also didn't do any yoga whatsoever. So I know now when I have lower back pain how to help myself. At that point, I just had to suffer, right? And I could feel that physical suffering being almost like a anchor point for my mental suffering and anguish of my friends are not going to love me anymore, or they won't care about me anymore if I leave, or they hate me for leaving, etc., etc. And it's so interesting how, since I started my practice, how those kind of thoughts, alongside the pain, have dissipated significantly. Wow. Okay, yes. Love is true. What a stream this has been. I feel complete. I feel satisfied. Devour the power. Little furry potato sleeping now. Yeah. He likes being sleepy, sleepy. Undisturbable. I cannot be disturbed. I'm sleepy. That's great advice. Thank you. You're so welcome, friend. Love is true. I'm so happy to share this journey with you, friends. This is what it's about, right? Every single one of us are a microcosm of the whole. Hey, Queen, it's nice having you. I like your channel. Thank you. Every single one of us are a microcosm of the whole, right? And the lessons that I've learned in my life very much apply to yours as well. And they might not be one to one, your mileage may vary kind of vibes. But in me sharing my journey with this experience, you might find one thing that you find value in. And even if it's only something that you think about, and that thinking leads you to doing one thing differently in life, that changes the world. I also have a furry potato, a smaller one, but also a little cutie patootie. He is. Jesus bless you, friend. Thank you. I appreciate that. Diggy diggy hole. I am a dwarf, and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole. Diggy diggy hole. I am a dwarf, and I'm digging a hole. He's so sleepy. Right, I would have been woken up like 6 times over if some entity outside is just like me. No reaction whatsoever. All right, I'm gonna have to move my arm, little dude. This is gonna wake him up. Maybe I can do it slow. I knew it was gonna wake him up. Oh, no, I need to recomfort myself. Damn it. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. All right, what satisfies dog when satisfies human being? Mm, peace? Yes, I think peace. Now I'll show you something. What's this? Oh, it's me. Sorry about that. I saw like a blacked out video and I was like, I don't remember receiving or sending any black videos. And then it was me in the darkness yesterday sending Joe a message, a video message. What's up, stupid? Whatever. What satisfied dog? Whatever satisfy human being. Whatever satisfies dog when satisfies human being. Yeah, autocorrect is messing with me too. Here is yesterday's flower. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, 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 yeah. Isn't that pretty? I'm technically wearing the same colors today. I'm not having such bright reds, at least. Oops. That's actually the way the colors used to look. All right. And then I did go to town on those colors, technically. Wait a second. Oh, okay, yeah, no, fine. This is the HD one. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Now that you've seen the flower, I will read you the poem. And yesterday was my birthday. Eric, like, dream, it is you, right? I don't want to read your full name out of respect for your privacy, but it is you who started supporting my Patreon. I'm thinking. You're the only Eric that I know. It might be someone else, but if it's you, I super appreciate you supporting my work. I'm curious what happened that you, I'm curious what happened that got you. You just said you were satisfied. I'm satisfied because I feel, right? Like when I show up in these spaces, I come here with an intention to share some sort of truth, some sort of way to consciously evolve. And I have shared that truth, I feel, um, authentically, completely, in a way where I can keep going, right? I can keep digging a hole, but I've already struck gold, right? And I need to like admire it or something like that. Hope you sell those. Very good art. I do sell them. Uh, I was looking for this. I've made these. I've made my art in these little stickers, right? So I spend time with Photoshop, taking away the edges. Right. That's also one of my pieces. And so I do sell them, but the digital files are the ones that have been the most profitable. I have a Patreon, Diane. If you want to support me, this is probably the best way to. For as little as $1, just $1 a month. All right. What can you buy with $1? What can you buy? I mean, nothing. You can buy nothing, but you can have 30 because I make one every day. 30 unique works of art never before seen by human eyeballs for $1.11 a month. You can give me more if you want, but since I want to share my art and I want to at the same time, like, assign value, it's valuable to me. I'm sold. Thank you, Diane. Seriously, if you go and search Patreon, MeltMore, you'll be able to find my Patreon. Your support will be so greatly appreciated. I write a piece of poetry alongside each of these, so and then I like to show you friends the art and read you a poem as well. Very happy you're doing well. Hope to visit soon. I'll be close enough to. Words do matter, sir. Absolutely. I'm sold. Thank you, Diana. You're making me super happy. I feel the love. I appreciate you appreciating me. One more time. There's the flower and the poem associated with it. And it's called I Rise in Bloom. I woke today like dawn itself, not summoned, but welcomed. A rhythm older than memory, softly humming, you are here. Not by accident, not as a shadow of what could be, but as a flame exactly bright enough for this morning. The sky, in quiet applause, wore its bluest silence. The wind bowed past my shoulders like an old friend who never forgot my name. I walked into my new year not to chase what's missing, but to receive what's already pouring from eyes, from arms, from every yes the world has whispered into me. Time didn't age me, it named me. And I said yes over and over again until every echo sounded like home. There's no turning back when the heart opens like this. No returning to the smaller self that doubted its belonging. Today I dance with joy unbraked, feet bare on earth's grin, and heard the hush between the heartbeats declare me worthy just because I am. So there's, so here's to the mystery that birthed me laughing, to the stars that conspired to place me exactly here, a soul in full color, rising, blooming, and loving the world back. I appreciate you, friends, for giving me a chance to love you in my own way, for getting to spend these moments in coziness, sharing the things that we have on our heart to say. You were a healer. Well done. Thank you, friend. We all heal. We're all the healer, I believe. I really do. I just think some of us try harder than others. Some of us might have more opportunities to. Some of us have been given a chance. And it is people like you, Diana, the people that support my work, that are giving me a chance to heal the world. I appreciate you, friends, so much. Thank you for joining me again in this space. Part of me wants to, I'll do this. I'll do like a little something, something. Click on this one. Here we go. Patreon / MeltMore. There we go. If you want to support my work, if you search that into the Googles, you should be able to find me. I appreciate you, friends, for finding me here. Such a pleasure spending this moment. I'll see you again soon, tomorrow. Thank you, dear friend. Goodbye for now. I'll see you again here. I do one every day. I'll be right back here 24 hours from now. I love you, friends. Cheers.